Hello, welcome to the Business Book Club on News.Markets. Today we're reading Myths and Mortals, a book about family business leadership and succession planning. I'm delighted to be joined by the author, Andrew Kite. Thanks ever so much for coming in.
Now, thanks for having me.
Nepotism, feuds, a young pretender to the CEO crown who's not being given the credit that possibly he deserves. Are those the kind of myths we're talking about?
Well, there are a lot of stories that surround family businesses, and many of them are negative stereotypes like the ones that you've talked about. And some of them are often mythic stories about the unimaginable success of our parents and our grandparents in family businesses. And all of those can be really challenging to deal with for the next generation.
How damaging can those myths be to not just the successor, but to the business itself? Well,
it can be critically damaging to a family business if we let them be a curse rather than a blessing. So they can be a blessing in that they can connect us with meaning, they can give us a sense of purpose. You know, to illustrate that, I'll talk about Massimo Ferragamo from the Salvatore Ferragamo family. So Massimo was born in 1963. His father passed away in 1966. So the stories about his father helped him feel connected to his dad and gave him a sense of what his father's vision was. So that's where the stories and myths can really be powerful and helpful, but they can also be a curse. So Bill Wrigley was another person that I talked to about the book, and he actually, ironically, was here in London and negotiating a deal with his Indian partners, and he was trying to lead the exact same way his dad did, even though he was a very different person. And he made himself physically ill trying to manage every little detail exactly like his dad did. And he said to himself, if I keep trying to run the business this way, I'm not going to make it to 40 years old.
So this book is about cherry picking the things that can make a family business strong, rather than focusing on those negative stereotypes.
Right. We explore the negative stereotypes and the stories that create what I call the successor's curse. The successor's curse is that as a next generation member, your successes never are truly your own. They're always compared to your parents, your grandparents. There are people who think that you're only there because of your last name, because of that sense of nepotism. So you as a successor have to deal with that and come to terms with the fact that people are going to doubt you, and you have to build your own sense of credibility.
And that own sense of credibility can lead to a set of values which can end up helping the company thrive and succeed. Do you think that a family-led business is very different and maybe better than a traditional corporate hierarchy?
Well, I think there are a lot of different corporate forms that can be helpful. I think the advantages of a family business are that it has a foundation of values. It takes a long-term approach to the business, and they reinvest more in their people and their communities than large multinational companies that aren't governed by a family do.
So would the Holy Grail then be a publicly listed company that's family run?
For some it might be, but I'll tell you the story about Bill Wrigley. Bill Wrigley got frustrated running a public company that was controlled by his family because he wanted to make investments in the future, 10, 15 years down the line, that the public markets wouldn't really allow him to do, which I think is one of the reasons he chose to sell to a privately held family business, Mars and Company. So
it sounds like a really good read, and you can get some real hints on the advantages of a family-led business.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew Kite, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Great.
That's Andrew Kite, the author of Myths and Mortals.